related to the title of this class, right? Can you define what seller financing is and maybe just walk through an example
Yeah,
of
perfect.
how that plays?
Um, yeah, so in seller financing, the owner who's selling the business becomes the bank. So in its simplest forms, you replace whatever functions you would go to a bank for, replace it with the seller. And so in our case, what you do is, you come into an agreement. You have, all the same paperwork. So they'll have a note, which is like the payment terms. They have some sort of security agreement. So right, you'll have collateral that you're going to put up, and you're going to make a down payment, and you're going to make a monthly payment. That's going to be principal. It's going to be interest, and it's in its basic form. That's what it is. But what makes it really cool is, it's 100% negotiable. Like literally anything you want to negotiate, it is possible. There's no rules when it comes to like, commercial financing like this. And so, I mean, we've done deals that, one of the stores, or the group of stores I bought, it was the purchase price was about $2 million. It was 5 locations. The guy wanted $50,000 down. So it was 2.5%. So we were like, okay, we could do that. So 2.5% down. And I think we're paying them 12 grand a month for the next 13 years. And so, how I negotiate these deals are those 3 numbers. How much money are we gonna give you down? What's the monthly payment? And how many months or how many years are we going to make that payment? Those 3 numbers. Because most people selling the business, they care about money, money into their pocket, right? And you kind of really care about money out of your pocket. And can the business support the debt, right? So that's how we negotiate. 100 grand down and whatever, 5 grand a month for the next X months. Or, I've done deals that were $50,000 down and $3,000 a month for whatever, 60 months. Like, whatever I kind of thought. And then, so I would pitch it to them. They'd come back to me. Oh, I want $75,000 down and I want 3,500 in X months. And then once we come to an agreement on those 3 numbers, then we back into a purchase price and an interest rate. Because, you could have the interest rate be really low and the purchase price be really high, or the interest rate be really high and the purchase price goes low. At the end of the day, the payments are all the same, right? There are some obviously tax implications on both sides. But yeah, total flexibility there. The other thing is when you get into some of the guarantees, like a bank's gonna, obviously want a personal guarantee. A bank is gonna want collateral that is, equal to the loan amount or more than the loan amount, which means, your personal house is probably going to be up for it. Your entire company is going to be up for it. The assets of the business that you're purchasing, right? And if that's not enough, you have investment properties that can be part of it. When you're dealing with a seller, I mean, it really depends on how savvy their attorney is and how much they trust you. I mean, personal guarantee is pretty standard. I mean, I've had one I didn't give a personal guarantee on. They usually only want the assets of the business that you're acquiring, and then that's it. So I've never put up the assets of my other stores or entities. I've got 4 entities. I've never put them up. I've definitely never put my house up. I've never put another building up. So, and I have full intentions of paying everybody, obviously, but you want to protect yourself as much as you can. And so, for the buyer, those are some of the big benefits, and kind of how it works. Any questions on that? And I can get into some of the other kind of details.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate that. What I found interesting is you negotiate those 3 key points for you, and then you back into the sales price. Maybe it's a bad assumption, but I would have assumed a seller is going to say, okay, I want, my business is worth this. I want this dollar. And then you negotiate from there. So does that change? Is that a leading conversation that you've got to get them comfortable with where you want to start?
Yeah. So most of the time the conversation goes, and I've done, it goes that, hey, you want to buy your stores, this is how it works, or you want us to buy your stores, this is how it works. Send me your P&L. We tell people up front, generally we pay, about 2.5 to 3 times whatever the, owner's kind of seller discretionary earnings, whatever you want to call it.
Mm-hmm.
And, then we tell them, listen, this is, we've done this with 20 other stores we bought. This is how it works. We'll pay you, a down payment and a monthly payment for a number of months. And I go through the benefits for them. And then we really focus on, I've only had one guy come back to me and like want the purchase price and here's the interest rate I want. And like most of them don't.
Did you buy that one?
Yeah, took 2.5 years. Like I was a pain in the ass. It was the longest one I ever took. But yeah, most of them don't question it. And then once you then get to the purchase price, and then you get into like, what's furnitures and fixture, what's assets, what's goodwill. Obviously, as the buyer, you want as much assets as possible, and as the seller,
Because why? Like, get into that.
yeah. So when you buy a business, there's really two. It's assets, which are considered furnitures and fixtures and stuff. So in your business, it's the stretch tables and the signage and the like, whatever, the things you can physically touch. And then there's the goodwill, which is like the book of business. It's like buying the cash flow in a sense. And when you're the buyer of a business, the assets, due to tax laws, can be depreciated. You can have bonus depreciation, accelerated depreciation. You can basically take a huge write-off the first year or first couple years and not pay like any taxes on any other stuff. But a goodwill is always it's amortized over like I think it's 10 years, and you can't accelerate it. So at the end of the day, you get the same deductions. It's just going to be spread out over 10 years versus if you bought a business that was 100% furnitures and fixtures, you could in theory like expense the entire purchase the first year and not pay any taxes or pay a lot less taxes. The seller, on the other hand, has the exact opposite problem, right? So they're going to pay the highest tax on furnitures and fixtures, and then goodwill are considered more like capital gains. They're going to pay less tax on that.